Lord Shiva, he first designed 64 tantras, but after that, he saw that people are caught in this whole web of desires, and their desires are never ending. Even if the 64 tantras were created, most of the tantras were giving them siddhis to fulfill all their desires. But the desires, one desire after another desire after another desire, it only puts them into a web of desires from which they can never come out. So, O Mother, at your request, at your instance, Twan Nirbandhat, you requested Shiva to create another Tantra. And that Tantra will specifically speak about your worship, about Sri Mata. And this Vidya is called Sri Vidya, and this is the 65th Tantra, which is independent of all other Tantras. This 65th Tantra, which includes a worship of Sri Mata in the form of Sri-Yantra or in the form of internal worship, in the form of Kundalini, this Tantra is complete by itself. It can fulfill the desires of every human being, and as well as it can give them liberation, bhog and moksha, both together. Now here, when we are reading this shloka, first we should understand why tantras. We have so many Vedic literatures with us, so many ancient ways of worship were already existing. Then why is tantra created separately? Why did Shiva give these 64 tantras when Vedvyas has already given so much of Puranas and Upanishads were there, everything is there? The reason being, those Vedas that were created, it so happened that only Brahmanas were qualified to read Vedas. The caste system, the hierarchy in India, because of the hierarchy, the Brahmanas are the topmost, and then comes the warrior class, and then comes the business class, and then comes the lower class. So because of this caste system, it so happened that only Brahmanas were given the permission to learn Vedas. And the other schools also, the other caste, the other two lower in hierarchy, were also allowed to worship, to know about mantras and everything. But the lowest in this hierarchy, the lowest caste was actually banned. They were banned even from entering the temples. Now, even though Lord Krishna, when he says in Bhagavad Gita that Chaturvarnam Maya Shrishta Gunakarma Vibhagashaha, that I created these four orders of the society, the Brahman, Kshatriya, the Shudras, the Vaishyas and the Shudras. But it is based on the qualities and the kind of work that they are doing. But what happened that this whole system was being exploited. The Brahmanas thought they were superior, only they had the right to mantras, only they had the right to Vedas, they had the right, they were born gurus. But the lowest class, even the second class and the third, were also okay. They were also given the thread ceremony. Everything was allowed to them too. But the lowest caste was the one which was suffering the most. They were not given all these benefits. Another thing is, in the other classes also, if somebody has have the habit of eating or drinking, because in nature, the evolution of every mankind is different, and some soul is born in some meat-eating family right from the birth. That soul does not know. Meat eating is normal to him, or drinking is normal to him. For them, drinking and meat eating is not bad. The person who is born in a family with the whole, everybody eats and drinks, which is called tamasic. But for Vedas, or to proceed further in the field of spirituality, one of the biggest qualifications required is to leave all these tamasic foods, to leave non-veg, to leave meat eating, to leave intoxication. We have to stop those habits. So all those people who from their birth are eating and drinking because it is normal for them in their families, for them to get into this Vedic puja or the Vedic worship was very difficult, because they were considered as not pure. They were impure. So they can't touch anything. But even if somebody is born in the lower caste, or even if somebody is, say, by birth eating and drinking and does not have a very pure mind, maybe as the so-called holier people, when but does it disqualify them from worshipping mother? Those who are in the lower caste, don't they have a heart by in which devotion is there? Don't they have a heart? The lower caste people, or the meat eaters, or the the people who are intoxicated, who consume liquor and all, don't they have a heart? They also have a heart, and that heart also can love mother. That heart, that heart can also feel the devotion towards the supreme God. So saying that, oh, because you are impure, because your habits are impure, you are not allowed to worship God, is it? It's a very bad thing that the Brahmins or the upper caste created in the society. So when the 64 tantras were created, there was one part of tantra which is called Aghor Tantra, or Vamachar, the left-handed. In that, or Kolachar also, in Sri Vidya there is Kolachar. This path included everyone. This path was open for everybody. You don't have to be a Brahmin, or you don't have to be a warrior caste, or you don't have to be anyone from the upper caste. You can be in the lowest strata of the society. You can be a dog eater. But even then, they were allowed, they were given initiation into this path, because everybody can worship Ma. Everybody belongs to Ma. On the soul level, we are part and parcel of Divine Mother. Nobody should be stopped. This is their birthright to worship Ma. Even if they may have hundreds of bad habits, so what? So what? Does a mother ever discard their children just because the child is bad? No, the mother works. The mother works to clean his child, doesn't she? If the child, say, if it goes in some mud and then comes home dirty, all smeared with mud, what will the mother do? The mother will get angry for some time and then give him a bath and clean him up, put some powder on him, and then make him fresh. Won't he? Won't she? So similarly, even if somebody has bad habits or bad thinking, their past must be very bad, but still they are all mother's child, and they should all be given a chance to be purified. And in Tantra, everyone was included, not just Brahmanas. So Vedic system was there for Brahmanas, great. But Tantric system was opened up for everyone, and this was given by Lord Shiva himself. Another thing is desires. People have desires after desires after desires. Everybody has it. We are born human. We have to accept it. And humans have desires. In the other systems, in Bhakti especially, they will say, oh, if you have desires, you cannot get God. So either desire or God. That's how it was taught in the Bhakti school, whereby suppressing of desires was focused upon. But no, but Tantra thinks differently. We have come in this life and everybody has desires. One should know the method to fulfill these desires and yet not get caught up in this vortex of desires. They should be able to transcend beyond. That method, that system by which even if somebody is desiring, let their desires be fulfilled. And with their fulfilled desires, once the desires are fulfilled, this person will be ready enough to rise to the higher level. So Tantra was introduced for this too, that all your desires you can have, you can fulfill them, and then you can proceed further. Tantra actually means, if you ask me the definition, Tantra means technique. Technique. Tantra means a system. A system whereby mantras were employed, whereby yantras were used to fulfill your desire, not only a material desire, but to help you grow spiritually all the way up to liberation. This is the whole system. But what happened, there was as everything has a pros and cons, right? So this thing also had a con. What was that? A negative side to it. Tantra is very powerful. If somebody knows the techniques, you can actually capture somebody else's mind. This is called Vashikaran. You can hypnotize people. Sitting in far off places, you become very powerful, so you can play with people's mind. Or two people are there, then then you can break them apart just by doing some tantric mantras. This is called uchchatan. Then there was another thing, it is called maran prayog, whereby if somebody is your enemy, you can get them killed. All these different little things started coming up in Tantra, because Tantra is very powerful. So all these were the negatives of the Tantra, which was in Vamachar or the left-handed Tantra, and that's why Tantra got a bad name. Pure Tantra was lost. And people started relating tantrics to only this kind of black magic arts. That's all. Or witchcraft. They thought witchcraft is also a part of Tantra. But no, Tantra is beyond that. Tantra is beyond that. It was given like Lalita Sahasranam. It was given by Haigriv, who is Vishnu's avatar. Haigriv is Vishnu's avatar. So this becomes Vaishnavi Shakti. Vishnu is pure, sattvic. So Sri Vidya is pure, sattvic. When mother saw this, that okay, the other 64 tantras are only misguiding people, are only deluding them, and is only putting them into further more troubles, because people are using tantras to fulfill their desires, but the desires can go to any extreme, like, oh, this person is my enemy. Then you go to a tantric who knows all this, and you tell them, oh, get him killed. And people do that, black arts, black magic. Ma and Shiva, they saw this. Oh, this was not why Tantra was made. This is not the intention. And on Ma's request, then Shiva came up with the 65th Tantra, Sri Vidya Tantra, which is the purest of the Tantra. And we don't use Sri Vidya for any sorts of black magic arts or witchcraft or anything. No. Sri Vidya, there is nothing mentioned. You read the Lalita Sahasranam, one of the most beautiful poetries of Ma, only praising Ma. Read the Lalita Trishati, only praising Ma. See the Sri-Yantra worship, it is only worshipping her Devis. It is not to do anything wrong, to any harm to anybody. Other tantras, there were certain things by which you can harm the other person. But in Sri Vidya Tantra, you cannot harm anybody. You cannot play with others' minds. You cannot. If you do that, you'll have to actually go to other tantras. So 65th Tantra, when Shankaracharya came, he was like the kind of the person who revived everything, as Tantra was getting its bad name, bad reputation because of all the other things, because of meat eating, intoxication being allowed, or maithun, which is called sex being allowed. Certain things, which was misunderstood, completely grossly misunderstood. It was not the original meaning of it, but it was completely being misrepresented, misunderstood, and being practiced by people who didn't know anything about Tantra and doing wrong things from this. But when Shankaracharya came, he kind of revived it. Shankaracharya saw that the system is so pure and so strong, such a strong worship of Sri Mata. So he revived it back in the pure form that is called Samayachar. So sometimes when you see Shankaracharya, you go to Sringeri or you go to Kanchipuram or wherever Shankaracharya Matham is there Sri Vidya is worshipped. But Sri Vidya, when you see the worship, you see that it is done very purely. Pure food, not even when food is also offered to Ma, it is offered without onion and garlic. Because she has come from Haigriv, the Vaishnavi Shakti. So Sri Vidya is that pure. So here, when we practice Sri Vidya, so Shankaracharya revived the whole thing. And when you see the mantras and everything, you will find that this is completely Vedic. So sometimes people get confused. Oh, then why is it called Tantra? Because this is like a Vedic mantra. Yes, because the system, if you understand the system has three things in it. Tantric systems have three things. One is the external worship. In the other tantras, which is called Vamachar, or even in Sri Vidya, there is Kolachar. Now understand one thing. When we see Kolachar, it is very easy to point out, oh, these people are practicing meat eating, or you see any Bengali Brahmin, Brahmin, they're from Brahmin caste, but for them, fish is auspicious. They eat fish. So anybody who is a pure vegetarian will say, "Oh, this is wrong. They should not do that." We can judge, but depending on the areas where they came from, like some people were from the tribal areas, or Kolachar mostly practiced in the snow areas, snow mountains of Kashmir and Himachal in that area. So at that place, it is impossible to grow food. So probably when Devi worship started in those areas, people were probably tribal areas. They were living in hilly, snowy areas, and when it snows for 7 or 8 months of the year, you can't grow. You can't have fields or farms where you can grow your vegetables. So probably they were surviving on the meat. The meat also that was being eaten in earlier those days was not, you don't hunt. Basically, they were roadkills. So they were given a permission to survive on that, because in such areas where it's only snow, what will you do? Even in the coastal areas of Bengal, where you can't grow anything, the fish is the only food that you will survive on. So for those areas, or in the tribal areas where you can't grow anything, in those areas people were already eating meat. It was in their blood. So when Tantra or Devi worship was introduced to such people, their purification is also necessary. Everybody's purification is necessary. How do you do them? So you tell them, okay, you want to eat all this meat, you want to really, then you must do it. You don't eat it for yourself. If you want to eat, sacrifice it in front of Ma, offer it to her, and then you consume as prasad. It is only for purification process, not for anything else. I will mention an experience of my own life, because uh, I grew up in a tantric home, because my father, Swami Divya Chetnanand, who himself was an ardent devotee of Ma Baglamukhi, he established the Raj Rajeshwari Bagla Pita Ashram in Mira Road, Mumbai. I have learned Tantra right from the childhood, and because of him, I was exposed to many tantric saints and many tantric places. He used to take us to all those cemeteries and graveyards where we have done our sadhanas overnight. And I have seen all sorts of tantrics, so called. So once we went to Ujjain, and Ujjain in Madhya Pradesh, and Ujjain is a big tantric area. I was pretty young. I might be around 20, 21 years of old. And then at that time, at around 5 o'clock, we were near Bhartrari Gufa, and from there we went to Smashan area, and we were doing our sadhanas there. So I was meditating, and after the meditation, I got up, and this place, Smashan, when you go there, it is really scary. Smashan means a graveyard. It is very scary because you see all those tantrics, black dress and their beards grown, and in the evening they also drink. They're intoxicated, and you can see their eyes blood red. So you look at their form, and they will be stinking from far because they have not taken bath for days. So their whole look, the augurs or those who do the sadhana in the graveyards, when you look at them, it's like, where have you come? You just want to go away from there. But that's what Tantra teaches. You fear nobody. Everything is pure. Every place is pure. Every person is pure. You rise above from the impurities. Sit down and do your sadhana. That's how my dad was. Okay. So we sat down and were doing my sadhana. After some time, I opened my eyes, and there was this Baba sitting near me. He also opened his eyes. We were both meditating together. Then I looked at him, and he looks at me and smiles. And he's like, Ma Pranam. I'm like, I'm young, but he said, Ma Pranam. I'm like, okay, Pranam, Babaji. Then I just spoke to him something. And then I asked him a question. Babaji, I have a question in my head. I am also doing Devi sadhana. You are also doing Devi sadhana. We are both tantrics in so, but my Tantra puja is so pure. I don't consume liquor. I don't eat meat. I don't do all those what you're doing. Why do you have to consume liquor and eat meat? And I know of the practices of aghori. Why do you have to do that? He said, you are lucky. From childhood, you were sattvic. You don't have to go through anything in your life, so you don't know. But for me, I will tell you my story. I cannot comment about others why they have followed it, but my path, I will tell you why I did it. He said, when I was young, I was an alcoholic. I was completely tamasic in my thinking. um, I was completely tamasic in my eating, and I was a heavy drinker. One day, under the influence of alcohol, I came home and I saw my sister-in-law, my brother's wife, and my brother was not there at home. And at that moment, my mind thought lustily about my sister-in-law, and I ended up doing wrong thing, which I should have not done. But I was under the influence of alcohol. Next day, my sister-in-law told it to the entire family what happened, and then my entire family scolded me and they threw me out of the house. It's okay, it was right that they threw me out of the house. I deserved punishment, but their throwing me out of the house was not a punishment. The bigger punishment was the guilty inside me, the guilty consciousness, my conscience killing me every day, feeling that guilt, that how can I do this to my sister-in-law. I stopped the alcohol, but the guilty feeling would not leave me. Then again, I would go back to the alcohol. And in that, during that process, I wanted to come out of this. I went to many babas, many gurus, asking them, give me some solution, how I should repent for this. But it only happened that all these babas and all these Vedic priests, they only looked at me with bad, they looked at me as a bad person. They didn't like me at all. And in the end, going through all these people, like as if the whole society like disregarded me and completely thrown me out, I was very sad. I wanted to kill myself because I wanted to get rid of the feeling of guilt killing me inside. And at that time, I met my aghori guru. He was in the smashan, he was in the graveyard, and looking at me, he called me and he said, what happened, why are you so sad? And I told him my story, and then he said, you should pray to Ma Kali. Only Ma Kali can cure you of the Rakt Bij inside you, the Rakt Bij demon. What is the Rakt Bij demon? Those demon of passion, of lusty passions and lusty desires for women. Only Ma Kali will be able to help you. So start this sadhana, and you are not leaving the graveyard and going anywhere in the public anymore. You're just going to sit here and you're going to do your sadhana. So in our Aghori sadhana, he knew how alcoholic I was. I could have easily gone back to the alcohol, but then in our Aghori sadhana, there is a way. They give us little, but we are sitting under the Guru's direction, and we only take that much. We cannot exceed that limit. And that's how I've been practicing my Kali sadhana for so long, to get rid of all the negativities that I'm storing for so many lifetimes. So that's my journey. That's what the Baba said. After hearing this story, I mean, it put me into a thought that, yeah, there are different kind of sadhakas. Some are very born lucky, sattvic. Some are very rajasic, in mode of passion, and some are in mode of ignorance. Their food habits are bad, their thinking are bad, everything about them is bad, but yet they also deserve to be purified. And who can do that? Lord Shiva can do it. And how did Lord Shiva do it? Lord Shiva made the tantras to include each and every person.